professional.
I'm a professional.
I'm not.
Podcast. This is the podcast.
See them us. Unnamed podcast is live right now, but not live.
It's perfect, dude.
It might be the drinks, but I'm in a singing mood.
Oh, dude, I think we should sing this podcast back and forth. What kind of game do you have to spit to me today, Steve? Oh, I love it when you toot your horn. Keep it coming there, white boy.
Yeah,
feeling that beat.
Maybe I don't.
Ah, that's all right.
Okay,
man.
I thought I wanted to sing the episode, but it's not working out.
We'll have other opportunities where we'll come in and, lay down some rhymes, lay down some tracks.
Sure.
Speaking of which, listeners, we need some music. If you are musically savvy or artistically inclined, feel free to submit your samples.
Yeah, we've been flagged
for
copyright infringement over a couple of things, which, I know some of the things, since we sing over them and, make it our own, is not... it's not really,
it's not stealing.
It's considered fair use because it's like quote unquote a parody.
Mm-hmm.
However, like other things, like in the end when we just kind of talk over it, I'm not sure that necessarily counts. Even though.
Oh wait, we got
beat
flagged
in
by
background.
music, not because of all the underage jokes that we made.
No. It's not it's not a content flag. It's a copyrighted content flag, where they're like, hey, you didn't make that beat, Dan the Automator did. And I'm just like...
Dan the Automator. Well, I don't care then.
Probably.
If they're concerned about the music, then that's no big deal. But
well, I just, but at this point, though, I think that it would be good to, get our own personal this and that, if we're going to keep doing this.
Yeah,
and we're
so we'll hire...
Keep making it better. We'll hold off on the hiring bit because, until this thing actually makes any money, then I'd prefer not to dish any money out. Because, you
got to spend money to make money.
Yeah,
Steve.
well, I'm okay with paying for hardware and necessary items, but, I will kazoo the shit out of an intro before I start paying.
You play a mean kazoo, bro.
Right? That's not a kazoo,
it's a
but,
harmonica.
yeah, well, it's,
It's only like a quarter of a harmonica at that.
There's 4 slots on it. I don't know how many a normal harmonica has, but I imagine it's at least 4 times that.
Yeah, it's good tongue practice, plugging up those holes.
Mm-hmm. Is that how you're supposed to play a harmonica?
Yeah,
you plug the holes with your tongue?
Yeah, using your lips at the same time.
My dad he played a harmonica. I always thought it was one of the lamer things about him. I don't know. That and an organ. Like, most... I don't know. Most people's parents, they do certain things where it's like, oh, yeah, I can learn from that or whatever. But, do I want to learn
harmonica?
The electric organ? Or, which, like, under the right context could be cool, but it's, like, weird, like, southern, like, Bible-sounding music that he'd play, which, there are a handful of songs that I really like. I don't know, and particularly like there's.
So your parents have like an organ at their house?
My dad, he had an electric organ. Then he traded it for a more antique one that didn't work for some reason.
Just wanted to have a little side job for
I
himself.
don't know. He probably Well, he starts stuff and never finishes it. It's one of those things. I don't know if it's like an inheritable trait or whatever, but I try to do my best to just if I'm going to start something, I'm going to finish it right away.
Yeah.
Because he starts a million things and never finishes a single one of them.
Well, that's how they raised you, And I think any kind of traits and qualities that you have about your personality is a direct, correlation to what your parents did. Like, either you take on the same habits that they took on, or you kind of become the antithesis.
Totally. I guess I'm trying... I think that it's inherent in me to just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's kind of how I was raised, but my values, what I think is important is following through with things that you say you're going to do or actually do. So I want to be the opposite.
Yeah.
Because I think there's nothing more annoying than, talking about plans and then never actually doing them.
No, that annoys the shit out of me.
So,
I think my parents are the same way too.
yeah. But he also played the harmonica, and that was pretty lame.
My dad didn't play any instruments.
I tried to play the guitar for a long time. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm musically uninclined, disinclined.
Challenged. Well, that's why I'm putting out the invitation out to the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
There's plenty of talented people out there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
But they're not talented enough to have their own podcast.
or maybe they are. I don't know, but maybe they haven't thought of it. Because I mean,
Maybe
are we talented enough?
Well, our egos are big enough to.
Sure. I deep down, I think I'm talented enough.
I feel pretty talented.
I think if I was making like any money off of this and I could devote more time to it, it'd only get better, like exponentially better.
Like your Twitter feed. That's kind of taken off right now, dude.
Is it? Because
Positivity Magazine.
I feel in a
we're
rut.
all about that.
Oh yeah, I might bring that back. Right now, I think it's Ponder and Tell Magazine.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I feel in a rut with my Twitter. I don't know.
Huh.
That's interesting.
You're in a rut. I don't know, dude. I think you're kind of reaching the golden age right now.
Am I?
Some of those I'm like, really, Steve? Jesus, you're kind of full of shit. And then the other ones I'm like, that's fucking hilarious.
Well, I mean,
I think there's a good balance between the two.
I think it's interesting because I kind of just try to hone in on a subject and then just hit the whole broad spectrum of my humor on that one subject. So certain ones are going to resonate with certain people, certain ones are going to resonate with other people, and most of them are going to resonate with nobody.
Yeah.
And certain ones are going to because usually it's like I'm super tired. It's the middle of the night and I can't sleep. And then I'll wake up in the morning and I'll just be like, oh, what's going on? Just my alarm goes off.
Gotta check the Twitter.
I'll spend about 15 minutes in bed just reading news and, just checking up on stuff, and I'll check my Twitter feed and see, what's going on in the world through the lens of the people I follow. And sometimes, and then, you get to that point where it stops, and then it's the stuff, it's the, 5 to however many in a row that's just me. And I look at it and I'm like, huh, okay, what?
Wait, what did I say?
What?
Damn it.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Was I drunk?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
It's just things that guys do,
Speaking of things that guys do, so I came across a Cosmo magazine in the supermarket.
Oh, okay.
And it was things that guys do in secret.
Oh,
and
man.
I was kind of thinking, I was just like, Cosmo magazine, dubious.
They're kind of the authority.
I think they're the authority to people who don't know. I don't know. Anyway.
Who read shit.
Yeah.
Like TLC.
It's all bullshit, right? It's the TLC of magazines. It used to stand for something. I don't know. Anyway, I was just like, gosh, I kind of wish I had thumbed through it to see what it was. Then I get home and I'm on the internet and I'm like, you know what? I bet they have something like it online.
What was the headline? It
was just things all guys do in secret.
Okay.
And I think it was 11 things, but then the one that I saw at home, it's like the top 10 list or whatever. The one I saw it wasn't quite 11, but it was things all guys do in secret.
So this is just making me
Cosmo.
think the really, obvious ones, masturbating and fart or
sure. Okay.
Walk around naked or whatever.
You're right. But, maybe that's everybody. I don't know. This is specifically what guys do in secret, and they don't want, and that was the other thing too, is this is also stuff where, if you read the little intro to the article, it's just they all do this, but they don't want you to know. And we're peeling back the veil, and we're gonna reveal the dirty truth.
Yeah. See, I hate this kind of shit, and I'm sure countless waves of people also hate this shit because, first of all, I feel as if Cosmo is written by a feminist. Some
I don't think it is. I think
it's
I don't think it's written by a feminist. I think it's written by some 30 mid 30s to early 40s panel, or a number of women who have the mindset, or at least are trying to tap into the mindset of their younger self, their target demo, and they're just making shit up.
See,
and it's just like, whatever. Like, if you and I were to be like, what do like, if we were going to write a magazine for like high school boys, and we're like, this is what women are about, and we just made sweeping generalizations, just like,
I guess, but then they
all
would.
girls like, this, that, and the other, and how to give amazing fellatio, and it's just like, there's always those kind of things, and it's just.
See, but now you're making me doubt my criticism on Cosmo, because I would think that I'd be able to shed some pretty good light on my experiences and, generalities about when I was in high school and what girls did. And
then
like the secret formula, or not even formula, but the secret, set of actions to do to understand women.
Well, here's the thing. I think they generalize, and I think when you generalize, you run the risk of making a general statement that's completely untrue. And then there's also the times where, maybe 90% of the time it's true. But there's a 10% exception, and when you're part of that exception, you take exception to that exception. You're just like, really? I really do this? So
what you're saying is that there's truth to this article.
Maybe not. So let's go through these one by one and see if there's any truth to it.
That sounds good to me.
Okay,
yeah.
So
dissecting is part of my
number one
favorite hobby.
Things that all guys do in secret, according to Cosmo. Number
one.
Wait,
is this like the number one thing that they all do? Or
no, this is just a list, and I don't think any of them have precedent over the other.
Okay.
Anyway. Hang towels from their boner. Have you ever hung a towel or towels from your boner?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, me too. But
it's just fun.
Well, but the interesting thing is, like, I would, like, I've done that, but I've never thought, like, I've got to do this. Like, I've done it once or twice.
Yeah.
But it, like, I would have not expected that every other dude has done it. But the thing is the other thing is, the big thing for me is all of this stuff is done in secret. Like, the whole thing is like, this is stuff that guys do in secret that will not tell their girlfriends or whatever.
See, that's false.
So, and that's false too, because that's like, if I was to hang a particular, say there's like a soaking wet beach towel, that gets heavy.
Oh yeah.
If I had a good boner and I was lifting it with the boner, like, you can do that,
like
move,
reps,
and it's just, I would know that it wouldn't necessarily be attractive, but I would have to say to my lady friend, like, check this out.
You're impressed.
See that? Feel how heavy it is, and you toss her the towel to feel how heavy it is, and if she's not impressed, then you're just like, whatever. But you should be impressed, because that's heavy.
So there's two instances where I've done this. Yes, one in private where you're just like, whatever. I need to brush my teeth real quick. I'll just put the towel right here.
Right. You don't want it to touch the ground.
Exactly. So, you have to like finish drying off or whatever.
Sure.
Number two, I'm a gentleman. All right, and I have some female staying the day or whatever, staying the night, and she's taking a shower. And I'm going to meet her in the shower. I'm going to hand her a towel. I'm not going to hand her a towel, but I'm like, you're a towel, my lady.
Okay. Now that is a move that I did not anticipate. That's a good one. You like open the shower, the curtain, and you're just like, towel. And it's just like, where's the towel? Aw, you cheeky devil.
Exactly. I'm thinking more of like when you go to like a really high-end like restaurant or club or bar or whatever, and they have like the dude in the bathroom, and he's like, he warms up the water for you as you're taking a piss, he gives you some cologne, like gives you some breath mints or whatever, talks your game up. Yeah, you're looking real good today, bro. Go kill him, all right? And he gives you like a good little extra motivation on your way out. So the way that I think of it is like, while she's in the shower, you just kind of stand there, you're just kind of like making sure everything's ready for her. When she gets out, you just like fucking call him right there, and she doesn't really need to acknowledge you. So
but she just comes and grabs. You've become more utilitarian than anything.
Yeah.
You're there to help.
Exactly. I'm a gentleman.
Interesting. That's an interesting angle.
Yeah. Try it next time.
It's next time.
It's like breakfast in bed. You're like
a towel off the end of your boner is like breakfast in bed.
Exactly. You're like sleeping or whatever, and she's really satisfied with whatever happened, and you're doing your thing, kind of sleeping in a little bit. It's Saturday or whatever, and she makes you like an egg and some toast, and she wakes you up. Hey, oh wow, thank you very much. It's just a nice gesture.
And then you make a mental note to repay the favor and then later when she's showering, you're just like,
I
hand
got
her a
you.
towel, but sexy like.
It's the little things, Steve. It's
Totally.
the little
I
things
mean,
that really kind of make life worthwhile.
yeah, and I guess if that was a tip, that we were writing to a younger version of ourselves, that would be a tip that would help. It's like, hey, this is something you're already doing, apparently. Make it into something that the both of you can experience.
That's a pretty good tip there, Steve.
Yeah, right?
To do.
Okay, here's the next one. Blow dry your balls.
See, I've only done that once when I was
But you have done it.
I have done it.
And was it a secret?
Well, it's not like I'm gonna be running around the house. Woo.
Sure.
I have seen some people get in trouble though. I think there's
trouble?
I think there's like a little meme about it where it's saying if your wife ever catches you blow drying your balls, you do not tell her I'm heating up your dinner for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah. So
that's sexist.
I don't need to blow dry my balls. I'm a little bit too paranoid because of all that heat. I don't want to freaking singe myself on something, or I don't use a blow dryer to begin with.
Yeah,
so it'd make me go the extra step.
I don't think I've ever owned a blow dryer, and but the thing is, it's just like, I mean, yeah, why?
Yeah.
I don't know. That one I've never blow dried my balls.
No,
I
never.
don't know. No, just why? I mean, I understand warm air if you're cold or whatever, but I mean, generally if I'm that cold, then I just want to get somewhere warm anyway. I'm not going to prolong it. The rest of my body is going to be cold too.
Yeah.
My balls are always the warmest part of my entire body, So if they're cold, the whole me is cold, and I just want to get warm anyway. If I'm getting out of the shower in the middle of winter or whatever and it's cold, I'm not going to sit there and treat my balls while the rest of me freezes, because there's no fun in that. So
Now that I think about it a little more, I'm kind of reminding myself a little bit. So my old house was super shitty. It was built terribly, no insulation whatsoever. So the really nice thing about it was there was this little, I don't know, coil in the bathroom. You just kind of flipped a switch, and then the electricity would run through the coil, and then the coil would radiate heat.
Right.
So it was like a little radiant heater. So I'd flip it on before the shower, take my shower, whatever, and by the time I got out, it was nice and hot, steaming, and the water was steaming, but then that coil was also really hot too. So I'd get out, kind of pat myself dry a little bit, and then just kind of squat.
Sure.
Next to the radiant heat.
Two things here. Then I've got two things to add to that. One time there was weird heating devices. I didn't grow up around anything like that. I was in my friend's house once, and I was just I just had to take a dump.
Sure.
Unfortunate. Well, there's two light switches, and I flip them on, and two lights come on. Well, one of them is a big old spotlight, right over the toilet. And I was just well, that's weird, but whatever. So I'm sitting there, and it's just heating me up. Yeah. And I'm just what the fuck? And I'm just so hot. I'm sweating bullets, and I'm, trying to get finished, and I'm just God, this is uncomfortable. And then I get out of there, and I'm man, what is the deal with that light bulb that you installed in there? It's baking me. He's yeah, dude, it's to heat you when you get out of the shower. And I was oh, well, that makes sense. Anyway, but what you were saying is you stood over it. That I can kind of relate to, because I have a little floor heater.
Yeah.
I have an old house, and there's
yeah.
the metal grate,
yeah.
and the heat just, it's a central heating area, and the heat just comes out of it. In the wintertime, it's nice to towel off and then just straddle the entire thing, stand over it. The heat is getting your entire body, but you do feel a good, you feel the updraft against your junk.
Exactly.
And that feels pretty good.
It's nice. Yeah.
So I mean, I guess if somebody was getting, but the thing is, a hairdryer is so goddamn noisy. It ruins it for me, because any pleasure that I'm having is being interrupted by this unfortunate noise. It'd be staring out into the ocean, as we were talking about, but then there's a ship just parked right there, just blowing a foghorn all day, and it's just really that ruins it for me. So
no, I see it. I think that.
So I don't know about the blow dryer still.
The blow dryer is just a lot more it's focused.
Sure.
So it's really easy to overheat.
And everybody, everybody that lives around women, I guess, maybe has access to one, I suppose.
Does that mean that women blow dry their tits or something? Or
I doubt it. I really doubt it. I imagine that it's just for their hair. I don't know. I mean, maybe, but maybe women are just better at hiding hiding it, or their experimentation, or they just don't want to talk about it, or they won't admit to it. But like I've never like known a bunch of girls just be like, oh yeah, and then that one thing that we all do, ha ha ha, you know, because like they're just, I think they're a little more evolved, a little smarter, like they think things through, and in a way I think that they have less fun.
Huh.
You know, because they're a little more reserved because they think about it ahead of time and they're like, yeah, that'll be stupid. I'm not going to do that.
I do think a
that
lot
they're
of women are
missing
more
out.
tactile, you know, but it depends on the context. You know?
I mean, I think that they would morph it into something that they just do, where it's just like that feels good, so we all do it, and it becomes like a normalized thing.
Well, whereas guys are just sitting around, you know, we don't care who the fuck listens to us, as long as it's like something that's kind of cool. Like, yeah, dude, I blow dry my balls all the time. It's freaking awesome, you know.
Sure.
Or I hang towels from my boner all the time.
Yeah,
so we're a little
every
bit.
day.
We don't like
Madam.
shame ourselves exactly. We don't shame ourselves as much as
Hot towel, please, on the airplane.
warm balls. We don't shame ourselves as much as women shame each other. You know.
For sure. I mean, women hate women.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know. I mean, that's if I've learned anything, or if I have come away with anything, it's just that women hate other women as much as they'd like to be like, oh yeah, sisterhood, and we're all, you know. No,
Nope.
chicks hate other chicks so much. Yeah,
Seriously.
like I don't know. Anyway, next one.
Yeah, let's see what the next one is.
This one I thought was like pretty stupid, but tinker with and like kind of tinker with things, like fix things, like
See, that's not a secret.
yeah, like
activity there,
yeah, that's what
you
I
know?
didn't really. I think they were just like trying to fill it in,
Sure.
you know, because
They're
it was
like, well,
just
you
like
don't want to have 10 of them. Let's throw in an extra one.
right, you know. So it's just like, who I don't know, who
Well-
does. I mean, I think there's a difference. Is like there's those guys that are incapable of fixing things, that will. I think this is more what they're talking about. Is they'll like. Dudes who are not handy will like when nobody's around, like try to fix some shit.
Sure.
Because, you know, if they fuck it up, which they're gonna, like nobody will be around to see it.
Sure.
You know? So I don't know. I mean, I would say that 95% of the time when I take on some kind of repair project, I know for certain that I'm actually gonna fix
Finish
it
it and
and
do it.
make it better.
Yeah.
There's very few times, and usually any time that it wouldn't work out, or I was afraid that it might not work out, it's so technologically
Above you or something?
Oh
or?
yeah, I mean it'd be like, well, of course he wasn't very good at changing the transmission on that car. He's not a mechanic, you know, but he took a pretty good crack at it, you know, like, or of course, you know, that hard drive is still fried because, you know, he doesn't have the equipment to take it apart and put it back together or whatever. You know, it's just
He can't make his own superconductors. Jeez.
yeah. I mean, you know, there's just certain there's certain educational limits that I feel perfectly sound in my, I don't know, my manliness as far as fixing things.
And I would like to think that most men tinker with things, you know, but I think that's something that is getting lost, you know. Not a lot of men take on these kind of little projects and you know, do stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
that.
like the one thing that I always kind of point to is like, can you change the oil in your car?
Yeah.
Like if you're a dude and you can't change the oil in your car, like I'm kind of just like, what? But a lot of people can't, and that just kind of always blows my mind.
Yeah.
You know, that's like basic 101 kind of stuff. Not to mention, you know, people are like, well, it doesn't cost that much, but it's an inconvenience. You have to go there. You have to go on their schedule. It takes more time.
But still, like, you have to go to the store, buy the oil, you have to buy the filter.
I mean, it does, but then you can just do it on your schedule. I mean, I buy a couple of them, you know, unless like the car's like kind of on its last legs, then I only buy them as I need them.
Yeah.
But anyway, the thing is like I know a lot of people who have like gone to Jiffy Lube and oh, well, they put the wrong oil in, or they drained out your transmission fluid, or they didn't put the cap back on and dirt got in your engine. And, you know, like so many stories like that where it's just like, why wouldn't you just, it's so easy. It's the easiest thing you could do to your car,
It's
but
all
they
over
don't
the
know how to
internet.
do
You
it.
could read up about it.
Yeah,
like-
but they're just like, nope. So yeah, I don't know. I think that people are just becoming more specialized. There are fewer generalists out there and more specialists.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of those things like I actually do well in the job that I do and the things that I do because I'm kind of a generalist. Like I kind
But
of
you're
I
thinking
understand
that
concepts.
a lot of men in today's modern society are, you know, they have hobbies, they have interests, they have like real passions in life, and a lot of people that I know, they're just kind of, you know,
well, those are the people I have no respect
wandering
for.
through life, you know.
Well, those are the people I have no respect for.
Yeah.
Like if you can't do anything and you have no skills, then it's just kind of like, well, you're what?
An art historian,
Right.
a political science,
a poli-sci major with
English
no real
major,
interest in politics.
Yeah,
in
English,
politics.
an English major who is a barista.
Right. I mean, yeah, you know, if you're the best barista in the world, you know, or you're knocking on that door, then good.
Yeah.
Be that. If you're passionate about, you know, if you're like, for example, like Keith Jardine,
Yeah.
he's no longer a fighter, but he's so into coffee. He's started his own brand, and I highly recommend everybody try Caveman Coffee. It's fucking
Caveman
good.
Coffee.
It's delicious.
You only buy it online or what?
You can buy it here and on. I mean, if you're in Albuquerque or Los Angeles, I think you can buy it at a store.
Okay.
I know you can buy it at a couple stores here because he's, you know, based out of here, but yeah, everybody else has to buy it online. So,
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Go get some coffee.
It's really, really good. Anyway, you know, if that's how you are about it, you know, it doesn't have to be horribly complex. You're just taking it to that next level. You have a passion for it.
But what's the definition of the tinkering? You know, is it someone that like likes to write? Is that tinkering as well?
I
you know,
mean,
tinkering with
I
ideas,
don't know.
or is
I
it
mean,
actually like, you know, taking something apart?
I mean, they were talking
putting it back
about
together?
trying to like fix stuff, like,
Yeah.
you know, the toaster's broken, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I would say that it's kind of more about that, like trying to repair things, you know. So I don't know. So apparently that's a secret, though.
So there's something that my mom likes to, like, I don't know, be all cutesy and be mommy with me, you know. She, like, you know, I tell her I'm doing, like, you know, some engineering problem or whatever, and then she, like, goes and tries to baby me and just tells me, like, fixing things. Because apparently when I was a little kid, I had my little plastic, you know, like, tool pail or whatever. It wasn't like a box, but it's like, you know, like a board with, like, two triangles at the end and then, like, a handle, you know. And,
Yeah. Like the old school toolbox thing.
I don't know what they're called or anything like that.
I think they were toolboxes before toolboxes were toolboxes.
Okay, cool. Well, I had one of those with, like, you know, a plastic screwdriver and like a little hammer and then like a real screwdriver, you know, that my dad gave me or something. And I would just sit under the kitchen table and then just like kind of like bang at it.
Stab
and then,
the top of the table.
No, the bottom of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I just like be like hanging out down there and like talking to myself and doing my own little like kid thing. And then my mom's like, "Mark, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm fixing things." And I had like a lisp, you know. So I was kind of cute.
This is the most adorable portrait
So-
you've ever painted.
Well, because I'm an adorable
Kinda guy.
Anyway, but I, you know, I had like this little list, and my mom like is so endearing, and that's like her main memory about me. She's like, "Oh, Mark, you're fixing things and stuff like that." So that's always been the way that I was raised. That's always been the way of my
Sure.
mentality, you know, like fixing things and like trying to take things apart, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just something that I was raised with.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm the same way. I think, you know, my older brother, he was not very good at fixing things or whatever, and I think that was something that my father was really disappointed in. And then my younger brother
you hear
also,
that, Pryor?
Yeah. And my younger brother was also completely uninterested. So, you know, like a lot of that fell on me, and I was actually, you know, just kind of naturally good at it. So that was always something that was like pushed on me. Not that I didn't like it, you know, I like that.
But it's not something you did in private, you know.
But yeah, exactly. Like I don't understand their angle where it's like something they do in secret.
Yeah, there's pictures of me on Facebook like putting things together.
Yeah, I mean that's like I think that's actually one of the things that is attractive to women about me. Like I wouldn't want to hide that because I think most women appreciate a guy who's handy, who can do stuff. You know, so.
And I think that's why it's in the Cosmo.
Well,
because
and
they're
I
trying
think
to orient or you know, put
I think
women on the
I think
path
probably
to like
the
men.
person that wrote it, you know, or the people that wrote this article have had a number of boyfriends or acquaintances or whatever, and you know, like a lot of girls like date the same type over and over and over. She probably dated a bunch of guys who who wanted to be good, fancied themselves like you know, mechanically inclined or whatever, but weren't. But she was also kind of into that and would poke at them, and then they had to hide their ineptness.
Yep.
So they would like be like, "Oh, that thing's on the fritz. I got to try to fix it. I should be able to fix it." And then they would just like fuck it up more. So then they'd try to hide it, and then she would eventually discover the VCR extra destroyed or whatever. I don't know what it is, or the heater's just got all kinds of bangs in it from the pipe.
Wires hanging out.
Yeah, like just things gone wrong, things made worse. So I imagine it's kind of coming from a more personal place.
Makes sense.
So,
but ladies out there, we are exhibitionists about fixing things.
Yeah, I fix all kinds of stuff. Okay, so the next one, tuck your dick between your legs, a la Silence of the Lambs style. Make the man.
I had a feeling this
make
was
the
coming,
man
Steve.
right. Make the mangina thing. Just do the Silence of the Lambs dance.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Have you done it?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Yes. Okay, but again, not a secret. The only times I've ever done this is like, had a girlfriend, and like I'm not always very sexy. So I tucked it and was just like, look, I have a vagina like you. Want to be a lesbian with me? And not sexy at all.
And she just whoosh.
Oh yeah, she was so
Sploosh.
into it. Yeah.
Sploosh.
I don't even think there was a laugh. It was just like, fair enough.
I want to say I did that to a girl too, and she's like, "Oh my god, it's disgusting."
Right? It is creepy. I mean, that's why that scene in Silence of the Lambs is so famous, because it's fucking creepy.
Silence of the Lambs.
You've never seen it? Oh, yeah. We talked about this on a podcast recently. You haven't seen Silence of the Lambs. You got to watch that movie. It's not that scary, and it's a good movie.
Wait, which one's... It's not the one of Jack Nicholson, right?
What?
No, it's a Shining.
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs is not Hannibal? Or...
Yeah. Well, okay, so there's other movies. There's Hannibal. I don't remember what order that came out in. I think that was maybe the most recent. Then there's Red Dragon, which is a Hannibal Lecter one, and it's...
I saw parts of Red Dragon.
That's a good one as well. So, like, I would just say stick to Red Dragon and the original Silence of the Lambs.
Okay.
I don't know. I watched part of the other Hannibal movie, and I was like...
No, I had a girlfriend that was really into...
the mangina?
Yeah. She was a freak about that shit.
She's just like, do it for me, please.
Yeah. No, she was crazy about, like, scary movies and likes Red Dragon a lot.
I mean, I don't think it was, like, that scary a movie. I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Murder.
Yeah, I mean, it's a murder movie. Yeah. I like that.
What's the name of the actor?
Have you seen True Detective?
I've been trying to watch it.
So good.
Yeah, are you all about it ever since fucking Peter Eisman?
Well, yeah, I mean, I had it, and I had known from, like, a lot of people, like, before that, just, like, oh, you got to see it. And I watched the first episode before that, and I was like, I don't know. And then during the lecture, I was like, okay, well, if he's talking about it, there's got to be something there.
Yeah.
After the second, like, it's really detailed, and they set it up really well. After the second episode, like the third and on, it's just like engrossing.
Dude, it's a fucked up show. Like I saw, I don't know which episodes I saw. I just know that it was on, and I just flipped the channel to it, and it's fucked up shit, dude. Like
it's so good.
Fucking rednecks raping little kids and shit like that. Like,
oh, I don't know about that, but yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure you missed that episode then.
Well, maybe I'm not there yet.
Oh. My bad.
Or maybe it's earlier and there wasn't.
How did we talk about murder?
Anyway,
people?
No, we were just talking about movies or whatever.
Because it was the
Silence of the Lambs leads to other cerebral serial killer movies.
Yeah, what's the Buffalo Bill?
Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, that puts the lotion on the skin.
Yep.
Type stuff.
Yeah, he does the mangina.
It's just not manly, dude. Like, I'm all about...
No, it's totally not, which is what makes it fun.
Okay, this is like the first legitimate one that could be done in private. But it's something, a little boy does when he's like 14, 15 years old, hitting puberty or whatever, and he's just like, okay, now we've done it.
Really?
I'm going to stick my dick between my legs with full boner and see how far it goes back if I could fuck myself in the ass.
Wow. See, because wow. That's a whole different experience then, because where I was coming from is like, I've seen it in Silence of the Lambs and this will be funny, but I don't want to make a Buffalo Bill joke because I'm not trying to like murder somebody. So then it's just like, look, I'm a girl too. Let's be lesbians together. It's like a romantic gesture. I'm like coming on to them as a lady in a way that, trying to offer something that maybe I can't.
So charming.
Yeah.
Charming. And here's me being this crude.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because, I don't know. I've never I never thought of it like that. And I will admit to this is like, I have thought, and I've always I've expressed this to people that I'm in, well, the person that I was in a relationship with, that, you know, it'd be cool if we could like trade genders and just bone each other and just to know what the other experience is like. But that's like my only like gender curiosity, where it's like I've never, like, I don't know, I never was just like, huh, what would it look like if I was a lady, you know, like that. So like the tucking thing didn't come from that. Like if it hadn't happened in the movie, I probably never would have thought of it.
Wait, so you've seen Buffalo Bob or whatever?
Yeah.
What movie is that one?
Silence of the Lambs.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a pretty famous scene where he just like
Did they even show
mangina.
it?
Oh yeah, they show the mangina.
Damn, dude, that was like what, early '80s when that came out, right? Or like
I think 90s.
Oh really?
Maybe,
okay.
I don't know.
That's
I don't
pretty
recall.
graphic. Fucking A.
I mean, it's pretty I mean, but the thing is like that's what's startling about it. It's like that's where the genitals should be, but there's like it's just blank. You know, there's nothing there because it's just all tucked back, and he does this like creepy dance, and there's some music. You know, I mean, it's a great movie. You have to see it.
Clearly.
You just
Clearly.
have to. It's
Right,
kind of a
right.
cornerstone of our culture.
All right. Yeah.
So I don't know. So there's that. Here's another one that was
What are we on, number 5?
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Here's another one. Tried to suck your own dick. You want to do this one on 3?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Duh.
Yes. Of course.
All right. Let's just reveal more of my fucked up personality.
Well, but
So-
apparently all guys do this in secret.
All right. Well.
I mean, again, this is actually something that I would keep secret, but at the same time, I'm not uncomfortable being like, yeah, I fucking tried it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be like, check out what I'm trying to do. I'm almost there. You know, like I'm not gonna like make a performance out of it. But
it's not something you're gonna do in front of your significant other
yeah.
either.
Do you have a particular story? Because I kind of do. The one time I tried it, I remember I had been pulling weeds all day in this big old it was like a horse pasture, and I was getting paid $100 to like clear it out.
All right.
And at the time, you know, like I think I was probably like 13,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah, totally.
something like that. You know, $100 back then, it was a good deal. So I was just like, fuck yeah. I mean, I would never do that amount of work for $100 now.
Sure.
But you know, something to that child labor thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I had been pulling weeds all day and stuff like that. And doing so, I had been like bending down, grabbing stuff and all that. I was so fucking limber. I was just like, man, I can like touch my head to my knees. Like I was just like so limber, and I'm like showering and stuff. And I was just, you know, and when you're like 13, you just get like the craziest weird boners for no reason. And I was just like,
I still do.
and yeah.
Anyway,
But
continue.
Even then, they're like nary a sexy thought. It was just boom,
yeah.
boner. I'm literally like washing my knees and boner for no reason. I'm just like, dang. But you know, I'm washing my knees and I'm just like, that boner is really close to my face.
Yeah.
I bet I could reach. You know, so I'm like going for it, and I'm like, you know, no.
No. Thank God.
Yeah, right. Otherwise, I would probably have never left the house.
Right.
And I would just have this like creepy, depressing life. Oh God.
But you'd still be so happy.
Would you come in your own mouth? That's enough.
Let me tell you my story. All right?
Okay. Oh God.
So no, it's not as bad. Just come on.
Okay. Well, just when you.
I just wanted to change the topic to the future.
Okay. You're gonna have to answer that question.
Do you come on your hand?
No big deal, right?
Exactly.
Oh God.
All right. So you know when you were younger, I don't know, this is like maybe 6th grade or something, but the whole like Marilyn Manson thing was going around where he like had, you know, ribs surgically removed so he could suck his own
I think that's
dick.
been said about like 100 different celebrities.
Well,
you know.
Marilyn Manson was the first celebrity that I heard about it, and you know he was just, you know, oh, he makes all this devil music and shit, and it seemed like it was actually like a plausible thing for him to do. You know, if he could suck his own dick, good for him.
Sure.
But I was like, you know, 13, 14 years old, and for some reason my parents heard about it, you know, and they're like, oh my God, that's the worst, crudest thing ever.
And they're talking about it with you?
Yeah.
Man,
and
my parents would have never talked about anything like that.
After that, I wasn't allowed to watch MTV anymore.
Ah.
You know?
I
So
didn't
it
have
kind of made like this big glorified it even more so in my mind.
Right, so you're like, I got to see what this is all about.
As soon as you're not allowed to do something, then I'm the type of person like I want to do it even more.
Right.
Like, you do not talk to that girl over there. I'm going to go talk to that girl over there now.
Right.
So, I started like listening to Marilyn Manson. I started like, all right, this is kind of cool. Well, if he does it, it must be pretty cool. Yeah, I was totally impressionable back then, all right? Fucking, yeah. A young little boy going through puberty, you have no freaking idea what's going on, and you're like, why not?
Yeah, you're just kind of an animal.
If I could do it, then it probably means that a lot of people do it too out there. So why not? So I tried, but to no avail.
Sure.
But, flash forward, 10 years in the future, I'm taking yoga class, and I'm doing yoga, on a frequent basis. And, everything's just like peaceful and serene. And, you're like, all right, let's just bend over and touch the ground, touch our toes, pull from behind of your legs, and then just, pull your face closer to your knees, touch your forehead to your knees. And, I look up, I see a hot girl's ass, and whoa, all right, that's cool. And I'm like, man, I'm pretty close to my knees right now, which puts me in genital territory right now.
Yeah, I pulled weeds, you were in yoga, whatever.
Yeah, and if I kept up with the yoga, then who knows where I'd be right now.
Right. You might not be you might be unemployed, just sucking your own dick.
Sucking away.
Whatever.
Dude, I think there's also like a Saturday Night
your own
Live
girlfriend.
skit.
Oh, I'm sure
where
there is.
Will Ferrell found a way to suck his own dick.
I'm sure that there's probably been 10 different Saturday Night Live skits over a time
fucking
where
crude and hilarious. It's like part of the ones that come on 11:30, like the half hour before it's over, so they're just like going balls to the wall, no one gives a fuck. So Will Ferrell is just like going to town on himself. He's got like,
I think I saw that when he was like the homeless guy, Terrence Maddox, and he's like he's like posing nude for like a drawing class or something.
I just know that I don't know about that, but I just know that that's probably like another one of the episodes or the skits that they did with him sucking his dick. But there's one where he's just like laying in bed and he's got like these pair of like fucking, what are those pants called? Those like the pants from when you're supposed to be like workout pants, but you don't do anything with them. Anyway. He's just wearing like sweatpants. Yeah, he's wearing sweatpants, and he's just like has them over his head, and he's just going to town. And they're like, "Oh, hey, babe, it's time to go to that performance. Are you going to be ready to go?" I'm not going to be able to make it today, and he just goes back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it'd be kind of just less fulfilling.
Yeah.
But then again, at the time, when you're that young, it's not like you're getting a ton of action anyway.
It's true.
So whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but one more thing.
Okay.
I've spent a lot of time on the internet, and I'd like to think that I've reached the far. I've been places where
you've seen things, man.
I've seen things.
Nobody can understand.
I've been to the far reaches of the internet, and it's gross.
Right.
But there's that Reddit website that I've told you about, and I've found a subreddit where it's just that topic. It's nothing but autofellatio.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Just like tips or I imagine probably
the whole range, bro.
Oh boy.
Wow.
See,
anyway,
if you've ever made an argument for me not wanting to get on Reddit, because the way you were talking about Reddit, I'm like, man, how am I not aware of this? How am I not into this? But now maybe I know why.
Yeah.
Because maybe it just
because you'd enjoy it too much.
Right. It'd become, again, like sucking your own dick. It's a good thing I don't do it, because
they need to be doing it all the time.
Who knows how that would affect my life adversely. Yeah. So the next one, how
can we ever follow that one up?
Right. Well, with the worst attempt ever, rub their stomach. Do you rub your stomach secretly?
What does rub mean?
I don't know. That's what I was so baffled by it.
Scratch my belly a little bit.
Yeah, maybe you get a little undershirt, just kind of and touch your own stomach. I don't know. I don't do that. I mean, if I did that unconsciously, it certainly wouldn't be one of those things where I was just so aware of it that I would only do that in secret. Oh, I can't wait till she's out of the house so I can rub my own stomach. Like that, I don't know. I don't know if maybe they were just making up some kind of at first I was like, okay, they're making up a euphemism for jacking off.
Yeah.
But the previous one was trying to suck your own dick, and they clearly spelled that out. So I don't think that's the case.
So I could think of like, rubbing your stomach in a sensual way, like you kind of like
Really? Like
feel
just
you feel
fingering your
no
navel?
no. No, not at all. But like you kind of like feel like your V, and
Sure.
that's kind of a nice little like. I guess so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like it's not like if I'm feeling sexy, I get out of the shower and like it's like something that I got done working out or something, and like I have like the pump, after all the blood rushing to my body, my stomach, and my muscles and my arms and shit. Like I feel pretty good. I feel like.
But would you do it in secret?
I'm feeling man.
Is it a secret thing?
It's not. I'll be fucking walking around the gym just like.
Again, see, it's like a secret. The whole pretense of the things that guys do in secret that they don't want you to know about, but Cosmo's busting the hard hitting investigative
Seriously.
journalism, peeking into the minds of men,
No, dude.
so that all the ladies know what we're up to when they're not around.
Yep.
And rubbing our stomach is on the list.
It probably isn't something very high up on the list. It's definitely something that's not as significant. No one's gonna rustle any feathers by rubbing their stomach.
Sure.
But maybe, I guess, I don't know. Like I said, I could only picture myself rubbing my stomach in a sensual way after those circumstances.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what they're talking about. I don't know.
Yeah.
How about eat without bowls, dishes, or proper utensils?
Oh, well, yeah.
I feel like that's kind of one of those things where you just do it whenever, like when you're not making a big deal of anything.
But, I think everyone does. That's pretty freaking
Right?
general.
Yeah, like I would say that.
I'm not going to get like a plate of food and then just like put my mouth up to it.
Right.
Like freaking like a dog bowl or something
Sure.
like that.
But, if I've cooked something and it's just not formal, we're not splitting it, whatever, and I'm just going to eat it, why make another dish?
Yeah, or like, we had fish today. So I'd like, if I'm like hungry and I have a bunch of leftovers or something, then I'll go in, break a little piece of fish off and just eat that,
Sure. Yeah. But
But it's not a secret.
Again, yeah, it's like, a secret thing that they do. Like a girl leaves the house and then all of a sudden, they're just eating with their hands all, finally, like, I think they were just stretching for material,
Sure.
They blew their wad with trying to suck your own dick and hang a towel off your dick. Yeah.
But I think Cosmo is geared towards a younger audience,
Yeah.
So it may be towards like girls that haven't had like a long relationship where people have really
Well, they
gotten to
just
know
haven't
each
been
other
real
and
enough.
been comfortable with one another.
But I mean, is that like something that's like shocking to anybody?
No.
Is that so uncouth? Like how proper do you have to be before that's a shocking thing where you're just thinking, "Oh my god."
I don't think it. No, I don't know. As soon as you like spend a couple days with someone and I don't know, dude. Like,
I mean, I would be uncomfortable. I would be more uncomfortable with somebody who always had to have a dish.
Yeah.
They're just gonna go and grab a couple of chips, but no, they have to pour them into a bowl and then eat like 10 chips.
Yeah.
That would be weirder to me than just grabbing a handful and walking away with it.
Or just grabbing the bag.
I've grabbed a bag of baby carrots out of the fridge and I now need to pour them into a bowl.
You need to slice them.
Yeah, you have to
and then you need to get a little ramekin with like ranch.
Right? You have to be some kind of psychopath to do that.
Like tucking it between your legs.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I would put that kind of behavior on the level of tucking it between the legs.
Yeah.
Maybe occasionally you will fill a ramekin with baby carrots and dine on that in your lonesome little moment.
As you try to suck your own
But
dick.
that's just as creepy as trying to suck your own dick. Is what I'm saying.
We're all humans, bro. My dog does it.
I mean, everybody's done it a couple times. It's just not worth it because it doesn't work. Baby carrots in a ramekin, just not worth it.
Just natural,
It's
bro.
too much work and it doesn't work out for you.
Yeah.
You might as well just grab a handful.
Yeah.
You might as well just grab a handful. Both situations.
Just easier.
Yeah, just grab a handful.
Yeah.
That could be like a catchphrase for
Yeah,
the show.
like
just grab a handful.
Like
Just
Nike,
grab a handful.
just do it.
Yeah, just grab a handful.
I like it. Just grab a handful.
How about flex in the mirror?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
what the real thing is flexing in the mirror without making explosion noises when you flex.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's really hard not to do. Like, if you ever see yourself flex in the mirror, try not to make an explosion noise.
See, I don't think I so much flex in the mirror as I will look at my silhouette, my profile.
Yeah.
You know, I'll kind of turn aside, check out. I do a lot of checking out my own ass to make sure it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It depends. You know, I kind of generally it's kind of like a how do I look today kind of thing. I don't really flex in the mirror. I mean, usually in the morning
Because
I'll
you're not
wake
walking
up.
around flexing constantly, right?
Well, I just don't really flex in the mirror. But you know, if I'm like really dehydrated in the morning, you'll like look, you know, you'll look more cut than usual. So
Yes.
and I might be like on my way to the shower, and I'll look in the mirror and just be like, yeah, all right, you know.
I like after the shower because then
maybe
I'm
I should-
glistening.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I prefer the dry look.
Oh, okay.
No, you know, because maybe you just kind of like, okay, you know, it's more of like a critical eye thing, not like, oh yeah, check me out. It's more like, okay, I could work on that. I could work on that. Here's where I should be.
No, I just like to look and
You
see
know.
how perfect I am.
But that's what I tend to do if I catch a glimpse in a mirror and I'm like, oh, wait a
Ooh,
minute.
Who is that?
Oh.
Damn, son.
Hey there.
Let me suck your dick.
I bet you can hang a wet beach towel off of that boner. What's that, 20, 25 pounds wet? That's crazy.
Oh, man.
That's a powerful boner.
Seriously. Jeez.
No
That's
big.
quite the cantilever.
Right? That's quite country.
Oh, man. All right, let's stay on track.
Okay, yeah. So, here's one that I thought was vaguely specific. It was close to the mark, but too specific. Think about what you would do if the building you were in was attacked by terrorists. Now, we talked about something similar to this, you know, about situational awareness in another episode, so clearly I think about similar things, but I've never thought specifically like terrorism.
Yeah.
So I think
I'm
that this
of
is
the
more.
ninjas.
Yeah, I think this is just more in the mind of that person. So for that person, the enemy is terrorists. For me, the enemy is like a belligerent person or somebody trying to like pull up like a hold up kind of maneuver. You know, I never assume that it's going to be anybody trained or with a plan. It's always kind of you know, shit goes down and.
Yeah.
I might have to choke somebody.
Like
or...
a bunch of drug addicts just attacking your house,
Yeah,
looking for your spare change.
Yeah, sure. You know, just like more realistic scenarios. Like I firmly believe that I will never be involved in a terrorist.
All right, thought experiment. You're in the bank. You're cashing in, you know, some new contract that you just obtained.
Sure.
You know, you got the check, and now for some reason they had to write it out to you, and you're like, seriously, like. You can't just fucking do this electronically. So they give you the check. You've got, you know, $500,000 on you right now.
Uh-huh.
So you have to go to the bank so you could make payroll, pay your employees, so on and so forth. And then you start you know, you're in line, you got like your old grandma counting out her pennies, and then, you know, the hot random girl in the bank line.
The hot bank teller.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
And then
right.
And then all of a sudden
they're
you
at
start
the door.
thinking, dude, what if like someone just comes in and wants to do a little heist right now, like fucking Gotham City style.
Got to hit him with the bollard, you know, the little velvet ropes. Grab one of those.
Wham! See, you already, you know, thought it through.
Sure.
But what if it's just like infiltration? You know, they just come from every which.
Oh,
corner,
I mean, if it was like a real attempt, I'm just like.
Do you like barricade yourself in like one of the offices and then have them come one at a time towards you, or do you like make your way up to the upper level so then you could like kick their ass on the stairway?
I mean,
like these are
I'm
scenarios
assuming that anybody who's gonna just like straight up rob a bank has guns, and in that case, I'm just gonna hang back.
Just gonna hit the deck.
I'll sit down. I'll sit like pretzel style.
Heads up, 7 up.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Lay down, you know.
But you got $500,000 on you.
Yeah, well,
not insured, cash. You got
says them.
You got a silver briefcase.
Silver briefcase.
Metal briefcase. Sorry.
Well, you know, the briefcase. I think first sign of trouble, I do my best to like throw it behind like a cubicle divider or something, maybe somewhere they won't look. You know, but I'm not gonna like stand front of the money and be like, oh, if you take this, whatever,
Okay.
just let him have it.
So you don't have the hero
Well, I'm not gonna die over
instinct.
some money because, worst case
It's not the
scenario.
money, it's the principle.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna die over money. That's my
Alright.
principle,
Alright.
Like I don't care about money enough to do that. There's certain amounts where it's just like, God, this sucks, And maybe if it was a single guy and he points a gun at me and takes the briefcase or whatever, then he's got the briefcase in one hand and a gun in the other, and then he goes to rob someone else, and while he's pointing the gun at someone else, it's safely away from me and dangerously pointed at them, then maybe I'll jump his back and throw him in like a guillotine choke while I grab his wrist with the others to keep the gun pointed away from me, and maybe choke him unconscious, and then as soon as he goes limp, just keep choking him just to make sure that he actually dies, and then just be like, I had no idea what I was doing. It was the heat of the moment kind of thing, and
rage takes over.
Yeah, maybe there'd be that, but I really, if it's like, give me the money, I'm not gonna be like Jason Statham, all. Are you talking to me, pussy? I'm just gonna be like, nah, yeah.
Take my shirt off.
Yeah.
And start fighting him.
Right.
A lot of the times
I'm
when
Jason Statham.
we need to get a caravan. Fucking Degs. Snatch.
Yeah.
Anyway, but a lot of the times when we've like explored the scenario before, you've been the attacker. You haven't been the defender.
What do you mean? Like I'm robbing people?
Yeah, like the last time we talked about this was in an airplane, I think.
Yeah. Well, that was a survival situation where I needed meat. And the only source of sustenance was my fellow passenger, because I'm not going to eat those airline meals.
No, fuck that.
I mean,
It's probably all like processed food.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get diarrhea, and that's not going to help you in a survival situation. You're going to become dehydrated.
Exactly.
I'm honestly thinking that water is your limiting resource. That's why I was trying to kill everybody first, because I want to,
take their water.
Retain the water. I want to keep the water for myself, and I want to murder everybody else.
Yeah. Anywho, next point.
Right. Key bumps.
Of drugs?
Yeah. You stick a little key into the baggie of Coke and... No, I'm just kidding. I added that one in.
Oh.
That was the end of the list.
Oh. I was wondering why there was 11 of them.
Just doing key bumps, it's what guys do in secret.
I'm pretty sure girls do that too.
Everybody does that in secret. That's the thing. I think that's, they were trying to end the article on a note where, we're not so different, these genders.
We're not so different.
Yeah, all these genders, we see gender in our minds, but in reality, we're all the same people. But we all have the same motivations, and we all want to do key bumps.
And suck your own dicks.
Key bumps, I think, are the classiest kind of not classy bumps.
Cruel Intentions came on the other day on TV.
Never seen that.
Oh man, Sarah
Did
Michelle
they do
Gellar.
a lot of key bumps?
Well, Sarah Michelle Gellar, she's hot as fuck and she's the bitch. And she's got this really fancy necklace. It's this really nice golden cross, But then it comes apart, and then the bottom part of the cross is like a little scooper. And then the top half of the cross is you just fill it up with Coke.
Oh.
So she gets a little scooper. And
so she can do a little key bump, but sans the key.
Exactly. It's more of a cross bump.
Huh.
You know what I'm saying? Dude, I would love to get one of those. Just
I just feel like I don't do enough cocaine to need paraphernalia.
Oh, okay.
Besides, like, I don't know. Maybe just doing like little incognito bumps. Maybe it's just... I don't know. My take on it is, just if you're not in the place where you can do it in the open, then you're not in a good place to be doing it at all.
What about like in the bathroom of like some nightclub or,
well,
say you're in Vegas.
Sure.
And you've got a gram of blow on you.
Uh-huh.
And you've been doing it all night, and now your girl the girl that you just picked up wants to go and do a little key bump with you in the bathroom.
Well, if she wants at my blow, then we're going back to my room.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point of having...
That's true. This is
excess blow.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, key bumps is really just the point where you're just trying to keep your personal party rolling.
Yeah.
And, at that point, maybe you just kind of have a problem. Because you're not sharing. Nobody's really involved but you. It's just kind of like, you're going off to the bathroom every 15 minutes, and then you think you're being slick, and then
Nope.
you're just like, hey, whatever, and then that person's just like, oh yeah, like every time you left to the bathroom to go do cocaine, and you're like, what? Oh, that's crazy.
You come back a new person.
What are you
totally
talking about?
animated.
What are you talking about? I'm just edgy. I don't know. Yeah. It's allergies?
Oh shit.
Allergy season?
Yeah, seriously, it's like, mid-April, May. Yeah.
It's crazy how allergy season and you get those late snowstorms, if you know what I mean. What?
Christmas music?
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
I was like, I didn't place the tune.
I like, the White Pony, Dancing with the White Lady.
Yeah.
What else?
I don't know. I mean, that's the end of the list.
I'll add one. What about taking care of body hair?
I think that is not at all what all guys do, because I don't know. I mean, I would say that 99% of the time, well, I don't know. I don't think there's enough to be like a 99 percentile thing, but it's like most of the time, if a girl sees my genitals and it's all shaved clean, she's just like, what? There's that moment of, okay.
But shock and relief.
I don't know. I mean, some are into it, some are not as much. I don't know. Some are just like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Because I think then it focuses back onto how they're doing, and if maybe they're not like clean shaven, and then they're self-conscious.
Yeah. It's tricky with women,
Sure, but I mean and then on the other hand, like some girls are just like, some girls like hairy chests and stuff like that, and I'm like, yuck.
Yeah.
But so it's tastes. Everybody has different tastes and stuff like that. So I would say that would probably be like a very variable thing between different dudes.
So I fucked up, Steve.
Oh yeah.
I'm a really hairy guy.
Sure.
I'm not like fucking Chewbacca or anything like that, but I'm pretty hairy.
Well,
yeah. And it gets long. So I have a really nice set of clippers, I do some trimming, And I attach the I don't know what they're called, like the
guard.
The guard, yeah. You attach the guard, so you don't want to go too low. Or
sure.
Too...
I used to shave my head with trimmers and stuff like that.
Okay, so you know all about this stuff.
Yeah.
So I was, doing like the routine, taking care of everything, trimming the bushes, mowing the lawns.
Right.
And I got distracted, and I'm like,
the guard fell off.
I ran it across my stomach on a weird angle, so I had like a slightly balder spot than others. So I'm like, God damn it. So being, I can't be like asymmetrical with hair, it just looks bad, especially if there's like a bald spot within a fucking forest. You can't really do much. You can't just like play it off, and this is the scenario that's going on in my mind as I'm standing there with my towel hanging from my boner.
Right.
Looking at myself in the mirror. I'm like, fuck, man. I went too close to the skin right there. Fuck it. We got to figure something out. So I just start shaping it.
More and more.
You start shaping it.
I can't remember what I saw.
And it snowballs.
Right. Well, I can't remember what I saw there. I don't know. They were talking. It was like some show, probably like some sitcom or whatever. And they got like a little bit of pee on like a tiny little bit of pee on their like fly.
Okay.
And they were just like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Okay, well, like just splash water on it to make it look like I just got water on me, but then it looks like a ton of pee.
Yeah.
And then and then it just got out of hand, and I think they ended up with
I gotta take off my pants.
Yeah, like soaking wet pants and whatever. So I mean, I think that situation has probably come up in a number of sitcoms.
Well, it's the exact same situation that happened to me.
Right. So it's just like, where do you stop?
So in for an inch.
No, I mean, I know how that is, because like I shave like my armpits and like what little tiny like 4 chest hairs I have, all pubic hair gone, but everything that I can really reach. But then it's like, okay, do I shave my arms? Do I shave my legs?
Yeah.
And especially like in the legs part, there's like kind of a gap. There's some sparse spots, so I kind of can stop there. But if I was like a hairier dude, it would probably connect. So like
Yeah.
if I was to do that, then do I shave my entire legs? Do I do all of that? I mean, that's a lot of work.
So yeah, it is a lot of work. So
And for me, like leg hair and arm hair isn't really disgusting to me. It's just like armpit hair particularly is the most disgusting to me. Then pubic hair for sure is very disgusting. And then just like chest hair to me, like I only have like 4 of them. So even if it's like just get rid of them because they're just gross by themselves. Yeah. If I did have like a lot of chest hair, I'd probably still shave it.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Thankfully, I was okay with my chest hair, but with my stomach, it was a big problem. So just kind of snowballing. And it's funny that you should say, being a hairier guy, you learn to appreciate the gradient, the smooth transition from one hair mass to a balding area, or an area where there isn't that much hair. So you kind of have like a nice little smooth gradient from like hairy to not so hairy. Anyway, back to my whole spiel. I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do here? And one time in my life, it was when I was a freshman in high school. I was hairy. We had to like have swim class and shit like that. So I'm like, I'm gonna take it all off. And it was like one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever experienced in my life.
I think as a freshman in high school, I probably didn't even have pubic hair. I was so.
Jesus.
Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, so I remember taking my hair, taking all the hair off once, and it was just the most uncomfortable thing in my life. So I've never done it since. So this is the first time in a long time.
Wait, how did you take it off that made it so uncomfortable?
I shaved it.
And how it was super uncomfortable?
It's itchy. My clothes, like, dude, you need to
See,
understand what it's like for a hairy person.
Because people always ask, they're like, you're shaving your like armpits and stuff. Like, isn't that like doesn't when it grows back in? Like the armpits are the least uncomfortable. Like there's like no like it grows in. It's like super fine, so it just like it's no big deal. Like everywhere else, it's a little bit uncomfortable. But there's just like you can either stay on top of it, or you can like let it get a little bit long and then deal with that.
But the function of hair is to protect the skin,
Is
so
it?
Yes.
I thought it was just to make us unattractive.
No, to protect the skin.
Huh.
So it's a really awkward feeling from when you're not really thinking about clothing on your body to feeling the clothing on your body. You're more aware of it because you're not used to that barrier missing.
I guess I'm not used to
being hairy.
A barrier. Like I've never not felt my clothing.
Yeah. So
interesting.
So I had to shape it, and I think it's successful. And now it's like growing back, so I'm like, ooh, there's all these like stubble. It's kind of gross and shit.
Well, and that's like I don't know. It's just like a little, the length basically to the point where it stops growing out straight. It turns from just like kind of like a nuisance to me and like something that I'm just not into to like disgusting. I don't know. Just something about body hair just grosses me out so much.
When you're with a woman, you like scorched earth.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely prefer that.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not as picky as I'm coming across, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it either unmaintained is just unacceptable.
Okay.
We'll just say
What if you guys are like camping for like a week?
Then it's camping and you have dirty genitals anyway. Like, what am I going to do? Put my face down there? I don't think so. I wouldn't expect them to do the same.
Selfish.
What? If I've been camping for a week, the last thing I want a girl to do is like try to fillet me. Because it's just like, I have dirty balls right now. They're all sweaty and gross. Like,
it's the way God intended them to be.
I mean, if she's just so into it that she's just like, I don't even care, great, that's super hot. But I certainly would not expect that or ask for it or any. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be into it. I'd just be like, kind of like, yeah,
Fair enough.
Let's just wait till we get home and.
Fair enough.
How about we get home, shower up, get all clean, and then get at it.
Sounds good to me. Either way, good things. Good things.
Yeah.
Anywho. Yeah.
Closing thoughts.
I want to encourage people to be more exhibitionist, and
try
don't worry about
ladies,
walking on eggshells.
Try to do something experimental with your genitals. I don't know.
Yeah.
Apparently every guy does it.
Yeah. And then we'll write a article about you in Men's Health.
Yeah, right. GQ.
Yeah,
I think
there you
GQ is the guy. Hold on.
It's the equivalent.
Yeah. What's the guy equivalent of Cosmo? I think it's probably like GQ or something like that.
I'm not even sure. Yeah, I guess GQ.
I mean, I think all the men's magazines are just, all it is just like watch advertisements for like giant faced watches.
Pretty much.
And can I just say, giant faced watches suck.
Unless it's like a Rolex or something nice.
Even then, they look fucking stupid.
Well, it's not. It's
like,
just
why
to
not
show
just
off.
like break off like a instrument panel from like a goddamn airplane and just attach it to your wrist? You know, you
I
just
think you're
look
onto
like
something, Steve.
right. What is that? An altimeter? Yeah, from a Cessna. You know,
I always think that you're gonna make like millions
accidentally.
Accidentally, like I just made this stupid piece of shit I didn't really care about, and like, oh my god, it's like the best thing ever. Like, really?
Everybody's super
Really?
into it, and
This
I'm just
thing's
laughing
stupid.
at everybody.
Jeez, come on.
Man.
Anyway,
that would be simultaneously awesome and depressing. Like I don't know, I would probably just be like, I mean, it would give me like a weird sense of myself, because then I would feel like artificially inflated, like I have great ideas and they're so like everybody else thinks they're great and I think they're stupid, so everybody else is just stupid. So it'd probably be like that kind of thing, but at the same time, I'd just be like, everything I've done and have accomplished is a fluke, so I suck. So I think it would be a really depressing, sad thing, you know? Like, I'd be so high on the outside and just so small. I mean, it'd be basically like my life right now. So.
Anyway, let's wrap this up, right?
So, yeah, I don't know. Experiment with genitals or something.
I'm down.
Whatever.
Coming down, laying down the podcast. What you gonna do about that? Doing my thing and wiggling this and that. I'm pretty vague at my raps, but that's about it.
That's the haps.
That's the haps.
Good night, everybody.
Hasta luego.